Well, hello there. I'm Sonny Perdue, and today we have an important guest here to talk about the importance of grain bin safety on the farm. Grain Bin Safety Week is February 16th through the 22nd, and the purpose of this week is to promote grain bin safety on farms and commercial grain handling facilities. Today, I'm so happy to be here with the Governor of South Dakota, Kristi Noem. Governor Noem grew up on a farm in Hamlin, South Dakota, and has a personal connection to farm safety. And I'm honored that she's taken the time to sit down here with us today to talk about that. Kristi, I know you have a very personal story that is out there, but why don't you share it with our viewers today?
Well, I grew up on a farm and ranch in the northeastern corner of South Dakota. And, our family, that's what we did. We worked together every day. My mom and dad both were active outside, and there was 4 of us kids. But when I was in college, my dad was killed in a grain bin accident, and it was a situation that dramatically changed our lives. We had a very large operation. We raised corn, wheat, soybeans, had a cow-calf operation, and backgrounded calves in our feedlot. And he was a cowboy and worked very hard, but at that time, it was March 10th, and the corn in the grain bin was getting out of condition because of fluctuating temperatures, and he did something that he told us kids to never do.
Right.
He climbed up into the grain bin to break up some chunks of the crust, and that was the last time anybody in our family saw him.
And that's how it happens, but that's how a lot of farmers are. They just take care of it themselves.
And that day that happened, back then it was 1994. Yeah. We didn't have 911. My younger brother was still in high school, and so he was out there with Dad. And they were just going to pull a little bit of grain out of the bin to move it around and get some airflow going. And actually, Rob was reminding me that he said, I went up the grain bin first and was just sticking my leg in the door. And he said, Dad hollered down to me, why don't you come down and I'll go up. And he turned on the auger, went and followed Dad up, and all he heard was shut the auger off, and looked in, and Dad was already gone.
So like any farm family, you had 4 kids there on the farm, high school and college as you were, but the patriarch was the real charger there and got things done, and that's the way farmers are, obviously. That's why we're so vulnerable to these farm accidents, because sometimes growing up on a farm we think nothing can happen, but we take risk, and farming is a very risky business.
It is, and he was very much that way. He was only 49 years old when he died. But he was the guy who woke us up every morning by yelling up the stairs, get up, more people die in bed than anywhere else. But he had so much to do and never enough hours in the day. So I can understand why he got in a hurry. But we look at those stickers on those grain bins, we look at the warnings, and when you get tired and it's harvest time or you want to get a job done, we look right past them, and it can literally make the difference between life and death.
Well, it absolutely does, and continues to do. I was thinking in 2018, I think we still had maybe 16 or 17 deaths of grain engulfment in grain bins, both on farms and in commercial operations there. And I had been in the grain business of handling grain, and we had to continually remind all of our people of the danger of getting in grain bins.
My hope, Sonny, is that some farmer will see this video and he'll remember it more when he's out there working and tired and it's a late night, and he'll stop and think, for the sake of my kids, because it's still the worst day of our lives, and everything dramatically changed that day. Our whole farming operation changed. We almost lost our family business because of it.
I remember you telling me you had to come home from college and
I had quit school and became the general manager, but we got hit with death taxes, and we almost lost our operation. But I just hope that they pause for a second before they jump into that grain bin and think, this could be the difference between life and death, and my family needs me.
Well, your story is a powerful reminder of that, and obviously I really appreciate you coming on and sharing that. I know it's got to be painful even today to recall that, to think about what happened.
There's not a day that doesn't go by that we don't wish that Dad was here, because he's got a lot of grandkids that sure would have liked to have gone on some adventures with him.
And I know that's why he was in that grain bin, so he could make a profit and pass that farm down to you kids. But you've given a very good warning today about don't get too busy, slow down, and make sure we're safe. Obviously, grain bin engulfment happens every day, and we need to be careful. You're a powerful reminder from a personal perspective, Kristi, of that, and we want to thank you today for sharing that story.
Well, thank you for telling the story. There's some basic things people can do to keep their families safe around this equipment and grain bins. You know, ladders on the inside, ropes hanging in the center of the grain bin, different safety
And the buddy
precautions,
system.
and the buddy system, and maybe just don't even go in there when
right.
you've pulled any grain
Yep.
out of that bin. Just don't ever go in there.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much. As I mentioned earlier, I've signed a proclamation naming February 16th through the 22nd Grain Bin Safety Week. The purpose of this week is to promote the education and awareness of hazards and safe work practices in an effort to reduce the number of accidents associated with grain handling and storage. We hope grain operators, farmers, and community leaders will join us in expanding knowledge on these safe practices, not just during National Grain Bin Safety Week, but year-round, because we want families to stay together.
We do,
Governor Kristi Noem, thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you.